fundraising should be the last resort, because you're basically selling part of your company, which means you're selling control, which means you're potentially compromising your vision, right? Because you could bring on an investor who ties your hands in future decision making. And I've read case studies and heard from founders who had that very thing happen. So even a VC cautioned me, avoid the VC hamster wheel as long as you can. So I encourage other founders to, if you bootstrap, if you can, get grant funding if you can. Grant funding comes with its own challenges, of course, but if it's the right route for you. But like the startup ecosystem celebrates fundraising. So everyone feels like that's how you benchmark your company, when it's great for like news bites and getting written up, but it's not great for building a business. So founders should think about like their sources of funding and put that one as last resort. The other thing is, and actually I was speaking to another founder recently, because someone gave her the advices of like, you need to like just speak to tons and tons and tons of investors, and you need to fill your calendar, and you need to create FOMO, and you need to convince everybody that you're just like so hot that everyone wants to invest in you, and they invest in you just because they're afraid of not investing in you, right? And first of all, I'm not that personality and could never do that. And I told her, and she was like, I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, I would go with a more authentic approach. And I took a more authentic approach, right? I go in, I look for investors who are aligned to what we're trying to do. When I speak to them, I tell them that we're a public benefit corporation. So we are pursuing a mission, a mission as well as shareholder value. And that screens out investors that are just in it for the money. And it really makes a difference, especially if you're a mission-driven company. It makes a difference that you have the freedom to pursue your mission. So the investor-founder fit is very important. And a lot of times when you're going to market and you're meeting investors, especially in the beginning, you don't feel like you have the power to choose. But I think if you raise authentically and you're seeking the right investors, it may take more time, but there's so many investors out there. You just need to keep asking and learning and tell everybody that you know. Like, also, investment comes from random places. You can be like, oh, this VC, like that's what we do. And you reach out to them and maybe they just closed their fund, or they haven't fundraised for the next one yet, or they don't have much liquidity at the time, or some other random reason that they don't want to invest in you. Or maybe, there's just not the chemistry, whatever it is, but it can seem really obvious and zero interest versus, you just happen to mention it at an INSEAD event or, a random dinner party, and someone comes out of the woodwork and says, that sounds amazing. I want to give you money. How can I invest? So tell everybody that you're fundraising those are my two advices. Be authentic in your fundraise and tell everybody, and look for investors that are the right match for your business.